Alrighty guys, hi, it's Amanda. I am back for another video. This is going to be another commentary video dealing with what's kind of transpired between some of the drama channels here on YouTube, being Luschious Massacre, Rich Lux, Nick Snyder from The Viewer's Voice, and Dustin Daily. So I'm going to give a little bit of backstory, and I just want to say before I talk about everything that this video is not coming for any of them. I'm not judging any of them. I am just simply speaking from a viewer's point and trying to have a discussion with others on if they see things the same way I do or what their opposing view may be, and have a discussion that way. So all of this really kind of starts about a little bit over a year ago with Rich Lux. Rich Lux had built a pretty decent platform, and he is in the drama community as well as The Viewer's Voice, Nick Snyder, and Dustin Daily. And they're in the drama community, and primarily they really provide commentary and their opinions. They do bring facts and show evidence of some of the viewpoints that they have throughout their videos. And for me, what I believe their channels are is just showing the viewers some of the crappy things that is going on that we may not be aware of or may not think about, and just bringing it out into the open and letting their viewers make a decision from there, from what they've provided, if that individual is worth watching. Now, of course, there's theatrics and, you know, their own personalities which make them worth watching, but that's pretty much where their channels are coming from. So Rich already had this following, and then he started bringing his friend who he had in real life onto his channel, and her name was Luschious Massacre. And they started getting views, and they were continuing doing the same content that Rich always had. They were a great duo. People found them entertaining, you know, and things were smooth sailing until they had a falling out. Now, I am not going to talk about the falling out or speculate on the falling out. To me, the information that has been provided is a little wishy-washy, and I don't feel comfortable, you know, pinpointing one, because I'm not trying to pick a side here. So they had a falling out, and during that falling out near the end, Luschious asked for Rich, Dustin Daily, and Nick Snyder not to talk about her because their followers were giving her a hard time. And from that point, none of them ever really talked about Luschious. They never mentioned her on Facebook, on Twitter or on YouTube. They agreed with her and, you know, didn't talk about her. So come forward to this year, and there was the pandemic that everybody knows the world is dealing with right now. Luschious did get the virus, and she was hospitalized. While she was hospitalized, she started going on live. I do believe she was vulnerable. I do believe, you know, she was facing something hard because this is newly known. Doctors were still trying to figure things out. I get that she was probably scared, and I get that we're all human and our emotions get the best of us. During these lives, I started watching them in depth, and as she continued to do them, what started to really rub me wrong with her was she started to promote her Cash App and her Venmo multiple times in the videos or the lives that she was doing, which really bothered me because she was still doing her lives. So she was still getting normal views and still getting, maybe her views weren't the best. I don't know where her views were at. I don't remember, but she was still doing that. So she was still doing what she would typically do to make money, and then she was consistently and continuously asking her viewers and promoting that you send her more money. I get we're human. I get we have bills to pay. However, it comes to a point where it's really off-putting, and that's kind of what happened with me as a viewer. I felt very off-put that she continued to push it and, you know, was kind of asking for money. I understand people are going to donate that have the money to donate, but I didn't really like that. Then during one of her lives, which I did not catch, but you know, it has been brought forth and screenshots have been shown of during one of these where Nick Snyder had sent her a super chat and had a comment with it. Now, my personal opinion is that Nick was maybe being a little bit shady. I don't think he was trying to stir the pot. I think he genuinely did care to make sure she was okay. But I still think, you know, he knew that it would cause some kind of ruckus. So I'm kind of on the fence about really how to feel about that. But what happened from there is Luschious took that as a personal attack, pretty much. She feels that he was trolling her. I don't think he was trolling her. Maybe being a little bit shady, yeah, but trolling her, I don't think so. And she, from that point on, she has kind of continued to bring up all of these individuals and videos and talk about from her perspective, maybe. Who knows if they're actually her perspective or if she's making these things up. I'm just saying, I'm trying to keep an open mind here. All of these bad things about Nick Snyder, primarily Nick, and then Dustin Daly and Rich Lux. She has done nothing but drag them continuously, while they still upheld that they weren't going to talk about her. They hadn't said anything about her. And she just continues to drag them, continues to call them bullies, continues to throw shade at Nick's sobriety. She continues to, you know, say that they're biased and try and call out their behaviors. And not just in one video, it's ongoing. In almost every video it is brought up. She is claiming that these individuals are bullies, but they're not talking about her. They're not saying anything about her. They're not shading her. And she is here constantly talking poorly from her perspective onto her viewers, and they share similar viewers, talking poorly about these other creators from her viewpoint in a way that it appears she's providing it as factual. I don't think that that's fair. If you're going to provide your opinion on somebody from a situation you may have had, we're human, we have that ability. We can say what our opinions are and how we felt, but to say it in a way that makes the viewer believe it's factual is not fair. I don't think that that's fair. And if anybody's going to be a bully in this current situation, it would be Luschious, because she has targeted them and she continues to target them and talk about them by name. And they haven't reacted or anything up until a couple of days ago. But can you blame them? They all have similar viewers. They all kind of talk about the same things. So to me, it is almost as if she pushed them into a corner to talk about her. And I question her motives in that. Is she wanting them to talk about her because she wants to be able to say, look, I'm right? Or is she talking about them just to keep her name out there? Because they have, if you combine all their channels, they may have more viewers than her, and she is getting her name talked about more. I'm not sure really where to think about that. And I did listen to the podcast, and they really didn't drag Luschious. They really didn't. Did they call out some crappy things and like debunk some of the things she was claiming? Absolutely. But they felt like they had to. I do not think they would have made that podcast if she hadn't continued to go down this path. I think she wanted this to happen. And I can't decide if it's a good thing or a bad thing that they did this on Patreon. How do you feel? Let me know how you guys feel about that. Because Luschious did this all on YouTube, where they share similar viewers. And then Nick and Dustin's reaction to this were done on Patreon, which if you weren't already a patron of theirs, you had to pay the $5 to be able to listen to this, which I'm sure it's a great business move to do. I think I have a dog hair in my eye. It's a great business move, and I'm not shading them by any means by that. Like, you know, I'm glad that they felt comfortable enough to say something. And that's another point. Maybe they weren't comfortable coming on YouTube and discussing all of this. Maybe they didn't want to drag other viewers who may not know what's going on, or like the issues that were being brought up, to have to be subject to that. You know, maybe that's why they did it. I mean, who knows? But they did provide their information. And you know, in that, although they did say a couple of things that were harsh, they continued to uplift her and her ability to do makeup and her ability to do drag. They didn't fully criticize her as she has them. She has done nothing but drag them, say nothing but negative things about them. And here they are addressing everything, and they are still praising her and in what she's good at. I don't feel like that's being mean. I don't feel like they were overly hurtful or anything like that. And I know this will probably get brought up, is that Nick put out that tweet. I don't agree with that. There was no reason to do that. If anything, it kind of brought fuel to the fire. I mean, he addresses it in the podcast, but I don't agree with how he went about that. And I don't think a lot of people do. I'm not struggling because I'm still going to continue to watch all of them. But what bothers me is Luscious she continued to say all of these bad things and put out all of these not bad, but talk poorly about all of them. And then Dustin privately reached out to her and then did it publicly. Now, if Luscious really thought they were bullies and didn't want this to continue and wanted it to just be over with, why would she not have a conversation with them? And in the podcast, Paige says she even had reached out to Luscious to try and just put all of this under the bridge back in January. And again, like, that makes me think some of this was what Luscious wanted. That she wanted to get a rise out of them. I don't know. I mean, I understand if she felt that she was being bullied, that she would be empowered by, you know, speaking how she felt. And everybody has a right to that. But to continually do it and drag it on, that's where I get really confused. What do you guys think about that? Do you think it helps that she continued to make the videos? Or do you think it, kind of like I do, that it didn't help it? If anything, I think it's made the situation worse. And I did go over all of this last night, and I was going to make the video last night, but I was like, you know what, maybe Luscious will reach out to them and reconcile. Maybe she will let this be water under the bridge and this won't be brought up again. Because if they don't reconcile it, or they don't just all parties decide to just drop it, I think it's going to continue to be something that's brought up time and time again. And here we are, and as far as what has been put out, Luscious hasn't reached out to them. I believe Dustin had tweeted something that alluded to her not caring about the podcast or something like that. I can't fully remember. Let me see if I can pull it up really quick and tell you guys what his tweet said, because it alluded, and I'm making speculation here. I don't know if, I know he usually doesn't. I can't find it. I don't want to sit here and, okay, here it is. It says, I'm not going to argue with a person I've tried to work things out with. They can argue with themselves at this point, especially when it benefits them. For me to continue things LMAO, argue with a wall or something, you make it further. So to me, that just states that, you know, she hasn't come out to them and tried to let this be what it is and move on. And it almost insinuates that, you know, her viewers are maybe getting on to them and attacking them and disagreeing with them making the video, and I know, or the podcast, and I know that they stated at the beginning that they had viewers on both sides of the fence, people who wanted them to address it and people who wanted them to just ignore it. I kind of didn't care either way. I was hoping they would be able to be adults and handle it behind the scenes, but I just really hate that with everything going on in the world and all of the deaths that we're seeing happen, not only in relation to the pandemic, but everything else, like, why are we still as a community letting this kind of stuff rile each other up? Why can't we just be adults? And if you don't like somebody, if you feel obligated that you have to inform your audience, do it in one video and let it go and then not worry about it again. Why continue to drag it out? I really don't understand that. The dragging it out, the constant bringing it up, I don't understand that. Well, guys, those were my opinions about how all of this is going down. I know I didn't speak much about Rich Lux, and that's because he was not on the podcast. He was mentioned in the podcast that he really didn't want them to do it, and they made a comment that they were going to let Rich listen to it before it went live. I don't know if that actually happened or not, but that was a comment in there. And I mean, that, to me, that just speaks volumes, that he's really trying to just let Luschious work it out on her own. And if this is how she feels she needs to, I don't think this is the right way to go about it, because she is going to start annoying her audience with just dragging the whole people. She has great theatrics. She's great at makeup. But people also watch videos to listen to what the creator is saying. And it's rather annoying to consistently hear her talk poorly about these people, especially now that they have come out and just said what they needed to and praised her even and said that this is it. They're done. How do you guys feel? Did you guys listen to the podcast? What were your feelings about it? One thing I did want to mention is a channel on here who I've recently started following. She made commentary on this, and I believe, I may pronounce her name wrong, I believe it's Renelle Smith. I'm going to link her below. Her video on this was great. She kind of comes from the same point I do. I provide a lot more of my opinion than she does, but she has very well-rounded thoughts, and she addresses some of the different things that I didn't, and a little bit more specific. So if you're interested in this topic and what other people have to think and say, go ahead and check her video out. Otherwise, until next time, guys, bye.